Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 11 life facts you should know by age 30. Most of you watching are probably a lot younger than 30, but for those who are older, this video still applies to you. Throughout our lives, we learn many things in school and just general life. But there's some stuff you can only learn from wisdom, and many people over 30 should know this wisdom by now. But if you guys aren't 30 yet, I'll give you a head start and tell you the 11 best facts of wisdom you should know before age 30. But before we get into it, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too. Coming up first, we have Circle of Success. So this one is all about the number one thing many people want, and that is to be successful. Whether it's general happiness, financial success, or relationship success, everyone wants some form of success. But one wisdom fact few people know is success is a lot about who you surround yourself with. That's why one fact you have to know is if you want to be successful, you have to hang around successful people. Now, this doesn't mean you need to hang around a bunch of millionaires. What it means is you need to hang around people who will inspire you to be the best you can be. If you're around people who are constantly complaining and bringing you down, that's not going to bring you any value. These negative people could be a friend, or a group of friends, or even your own parents. Sometimes you need to not listen to these people who want to drag you down and listen to people who will make you successful. However, sometimes you may have bad ideas, and that's why it's great to hang around more successful people. They'll be able to tell you realistically but kindly that your idea isn't so great and you should change it. The reason why so many super successful people have mentors is for this very reason. But you don't really need a mentor, all you need is to hang around non-negative people and those who will make you successful. Next up, we have School Doesn't Teach At All. If any of you guys are a bit older and have left school, you probably had trouble doing things like paying bills or writing checks. Of course, it's important to stay in school and learn all the things they have to offer. But there are some things that unfortunately school does not teach you. This can be in various ways. Something school doesn't teach you is basic life skills. 80% of high school students don't know how to write a check or pay their bills because it's not taught in school. But other things school doesn't teach you is things like life facts. Of course, it's good for general knowledge and other things, but what about real facts about life? The smartest kid in your school may not be that wise when it comes to real life situations. And that's why it's important to not only know facts, but also learn knowledge and gain wisdom by experiencing things. You may think right now that if you're not fantastic in school, you won't be a success, but that's not the case. Many of the world's most successful people never even graduated high school. Not to say that that's a good thing, but it doesn't matter whether you're amazing at school or just okay. As long as you have a good work ethic and wisdom, you should be fine. Next up is authority isn't always right. When we're younger, we're taught that authority is always right. We're taught to always listen to our parents and teachers, no matter what. But authority has also done terrible things, for example, bad governments in the past. That's why when you get older, you realize that authority is not always correct or in the right. For example, when you reach the age of 30, you should know to analyze data given to you. If someone tells you a fact or gives you data, you need to check it for yourself and see if it seems correct. If it doesn't seem correct, then don't just blindly accept it. You need to look into it and do your own research. You also need to figure out what is right ethically and morally. Just because a politician or a celebrity says something's right doesn't mean it necessarily is. Everyone has their own views and conclusions, and you can't follow a crowd when it comes to morals. Next up is don't look for validation. In your teenage years and 20s, you may spend a lot of money on clothes. But is that because you love sneakers and t-shirts, or is it because you want validation? Many young people seek out validation, whether it's at school, youth clubs, or their own local areas. But when you reach the age of 30, many people stop doing this. That's because they're wise enough to know that no one really cares. Many old people simply say what they think, and that's not because they don't care what people think. Instead, it's because they know no one really cares what they think. If you hear someone saying something you don't like, that doesn't stick in your head for days on end. Some young people don't realize this, but older people who are wiser do. That's why they don't constantly try to fit in and act cool, and instead they're themselves. If you go against the status quo, you may face anger and people not liking you. But sometimes you have to do what your conscience tells you to do and not look for validation in others. Next up, we have don't seek revenge. If you watch any movie or TV show, there's always people trying to get revenge on each other. But anyone who's wise knows that revenge is a dessert best never served. Many people think that revenge will feel good, but whenever it's carried out, it never actually makes you feel any better. Also, it ties you to the person you've taken revenge against. You will never be free from that person, and you'll always think about them because you've taken that revenge. Movies and TV shows make it seem okay, but revenge for the sake of revenge is never a good thing. This fact of wisdom goes against our human instincts of right and wrong, but sometimes you have to let things be and move on with your life to become successful. Hanging around in the past and trying to seek revenge is never a good or healthy thing for anyone to do. And as the Dalai Lama once said, while revenge weakens society, forgiveness gives it strength. Next up, we have learn and never stop. You may think that once you're done with school, you need to stop learning. But that is not the case, as we already know that school does not teach us everything. All wise and successful people know that you should never stop learning. As the famous quote goes, the saddest thing ever is the man who knows everything. All wise people don't claim to know everything, instead they have very open minds and actually take all kinds of different opinions. However, if you actively look for new things to learn, you'll be a lot more successful. Not only that, it can turn a bad situation into something good. No matter what situation you're going through right now, whether it's good or bad, there's always something you can learn from it. Wise people tend not to dwell on their bad pasts, instead they take it and learn from it. From that new knowledge they've learned from their bad experience, they can know never to repeat it. As Leonardo da Vinci said, learning never exhausts the mind. That's because wise people are always learning no matter what's going on, whether it's great or terrible. Next up is importance of people. One thing many people value today is things. If you look around your room right now, you may see many things you love. It could be your cell phone, a souvenir from a trip, or an ancient artifact you've had in your family for decades. But when it comes down to it, the most important thing there is people in your life. But when it comes down to it, the most important thing in your life is the people in it. When bad things happen, the number one we think about isn't things, but people. For example, when there's natural disasters, everyone looks for people, not their possessions. They make sure their family's safe and then run straight out of their houses, leaving everything behind. That's because all wise people know that people is the most important thing there is. We may work all our lives to buy things, for example houses or nice cars. But when it comes down to it, things we take for granted, such as our friends and family, are actually the most important thing there is. If you go to high-end stores, you almost never see older people, and that's because they don't care as much about possessions. When was the last time your grandma freaked out over some new shoes or a new phone? It doesn't happen, and that's because wise people are content with knowing their friends and family are in good health. Next up, we have school isn't for everyone. The views on this are changing more and more every day, but when you were a kid, if you weren't good at school, I bet you thought you were stupid. Well, that is not the case, and that's something all wise people know. Today, companies like Google have actually stopped hiring people without degrees. That's right, nowadays you don't need a college degree to work at Google because they realized that school doesn't work for everyone. Elon Musk says he gets people to work for him at Tesla who don't even graduate high school. That's because everyone has something to offer whether they graduated high school or not. Many young people get very anxious, thinking if they're not good at school, they're not good at life. But all wise people realize this is not the case. School doesn't always test you on how smart you are, but how much data you've retained. In this day and age, the school system is changing, but many kids who aren't great at school still think they're stupid. However, before you reach the age of 30, you have to know this isn't the case, and school does not work for all of us. Many people learn at different rates, and everyone has something to offer whether they're working at Tesla or Google. Next up, we have kids are everything. When you reach the age of 30, you may have considered having kids. Maybe you already have some, or maybe you're waiting until you're a bit older. But before you have children, one fact of wisdom you have to know is you have many people, but your kids only have you. If a friend or significant other passes away, that's going to make you very sad. But while it is sad, you can always find more friends or another lover. However, children can never get a replacement mother or father. Children have unconditional love for their parents, and this cannot be taken lightly. When wise people have children, they know they need to take care of themselves more, seeing as they have many lives depending on them now. Don't take unnecessary risks with your life if you have kids, as they can never replace you. Of course, it's important to make sure your kids are safe, but you need to make sure you're safe too so you can take care of your kids. This doesn't mean you need to become boring and unadventurous, it just means you need to be more safe and careful with your life. YouTube videos are good, but when it comes to passing down wisdom, parents are the best at it. And finally on the list of life facts you need to learn before the age of 30, we have discomfort isn't always a bad thing. On a day-to-day basis, many people try and avoid feeling discomfort. But that's actually not a good thing. Sometimes life is uncomfortable and that's a good thing. Anything new you experience in life will always be discomforting, and that's a key part of life. If you never feel any discomfort, this means you're never learning anything and you're not becoming wise at all. That's why it's good to throw yourself into uncomfortable situations and embrace them and then learn from them too. This can actually help to minimize discomfort in the future and make you wise and more adept at life. So make sure you throw yourself at life and don't shy away from anything that comes your way, even if it is uncomfortable. And those were the 11 life facts of wisdom you should know before turning 30. I'd be interested to know how old you are, so be sure to comment your age down below. Also, be sure to check out the poll in the top right corner and you can vote for the best fact on this list. I think it's don't look for validation, as that's something that many people struggle with. If you guys want some more amazing videos, then check out my second channel. It's got tons of life hacks and tips and will be on screen in a moment. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now, leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.